2. We're from Group C. For today, we'll be presented about Chapter 1, Speech Function, Politeness, and Cross-Cultural Communication. Before we do that, we would like to introduce ourselves. Next slide. I'm Frizki and Amrullah as a moderator, and my friend Anisa Henriani, Dinda Rilyanti, Novia Pangesti, Salzabilla Kinanti, Annida, Gabriel Klinton, and Yahya AlQhudsi. For today, we have 4 contents. The first one is speech function, the second one politeness, the third cross-cultural communication, the fourth and the last is conclusion. The first material will be presented by Novia. Novia, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Frizki. First material about speech functions. Language serves a range of functions. It is usually adjusted the speech to suit the social context of speech. The language we want to a child may be different from the language we want to our customer or colleague. The purpose is the same. The different purposes of thought can also affect the form of language and the variety of ways. There are some functions of speech like next slide please. Like expressive utterance. It means that speech expresses the speaker's personal feelings, like thoughts, ideas, and opinions, with different choice words and intonation. This function serves the declaration of speaker's ambience. For example, I'm sad, I'm happy, I'm feeling blue, and I'm upset. And that's all material from me. And the next material will be explained by my friend. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Novia. Kinanti and Annida would like to continue the presentation from Novia. So in here, I would like to explain the material about directive utterance and referential utterance. So first is about directive utterance. Directive utterance means that speech attempts to get someone to do something by giving order or making requests by using imperative statements. Directives are concerned with getting people to do things which express directive force vary in strength. We come to say down, for instance, by suggesting or inviting or ordering or commanding to them to sit down. Nah, jadi directive utterance ini adalah sebuah tindakan bertutur kata atau berbicara, or in English is speech, yang ditujukan untuk membuat seseorang melakukan sesuatu dengan memberi perintah, atau bisa juga dengan meminta, atau dengan kata lain membuat permohonan. So, as you can see from the screen, there are 3 examples for this directive utterance. First is, wash your hands, please. Nah, jadi kalimat ini merupakan kalimat perintah, sama dengan di kalimat yang kedua, silent please, itu juga kalimat perintah. And then the last example, could you give me some water, is adalah kalimat meminta atau permohonan. Next slide, please. Okay, about referential utterance. So, referential utterance means that speech provides information, politeness, and this utterance can be seen from the subset of cooperative principle: quality, quantity, relation, and manner. The values of politeness in the same way a great deal depends on intonation, tone, or voice and context too. Nah, jadi referential utterance ini adalah sebuah tindakan bertutur kata atau ditujukan untuk memberi informasi, dan pastinya terdapat nilai-nilai kesantunan di dalamnya, dan ini bisa kita lihat melalui intonasi atau nada suara, ataupun bisa kita lihat berdasarkan konteksnya. So, as you can see from the screen, there are 2 examples for this. First is about the competition will be held on Sunday. Nah, jadi kalimat ini merupakan kalimat referensial utterance yang memberi informasi hari diselenggarakannya kompetensi itu. And then the next example is about the second presenter will be Miss Anisa. Jadi kalimat ini juga mengandung informasi, yaitu menginformasikan bahwa presenter kedua itu adalah Miss Anisa. Okay, that's all from me. The next presentation will be presented by Yahya AlQhudsi. To Yahya, time is yours.
Thank you, Anida. The next presentation by me, Methodistic Utterance. It means that speech is content command of language itself. The first principle of metalinguistic is to make sure that the address understands the meaning of the code which the addressee is using. Example, hegemony is not a common word. Name has to be added by affixes. Poetic art is the art of writing a literary work. 5. The next, please. Next slide. Thank you. The next one is means that speech focus on aesthetic features of language by using poetic features such as rhyming words, alliteration or paronomasia, and antithesis. This speech function is rarely used in daily conversation, but it seldom happens in some community in special occasion like in the ceremony.
Okay, I will continue the presentation. The next is about Phatic Utterances. It's one of the most common speech acts in everyday interaction to express solidarity and empathy with others. The speech function exists in our community, but the form is different. It consists of greetings, compliments, gossip, etc. Examples: Hi, how's your day? It's a good day, isn't it? Where are you going? And the last is, let's have a meal. Okay, the next slide, please. The next material is about politeness. In sociolinguistics and conversation analysis, OCA, politeness are speech acts that express concern for others and minimize threats to self-esteem or space, in particular social context. Being polite is a complicated business in any language. It's difficult to learn because it involves understanding not just the language, but also the social and cultural values of the community. Speaking politeness involves taking account of the feelings of others. We also need to understand the social values of society in order to speak polite. Okay, the next material will present by my friend Gabriel Klinton. Thank you.
Well, I will continue the presentation. Positive politeness. First, avoid the impression of being offended by emphasizing friendliness. 2. Solidarity-oriented. 3. Emphasizes shared attitude and value. For example, when the boss suggests the subordinate should use FN or first name to her, it is a positive politeness move, expressing solidarity and minimizing status difference. Next slide, please. Negative politeness. First, people respect and avoid intruding on them. 2. Expressing oneself appropriately and regulating status difference. For example, using TLN or title plus last name to your superiors and older people that you don't know well. Being polite may also involve the dimension of formality. For example, in formal situation, the appropriate way of talking to your brother will depend on your roles in the context. If he is acting as the judge in a law court, then calling him Tom will be considered disrespectful. While at the dinner table, calling your honor will be perceived as evilly rude. The next presented by Anisa. Thank you.
The next material is about structural communication. Cross-cultural communication. So, cross-cultural communication is a process of creating and sharing meaning among people from different cultural backgrounds using a variety of means. The term circular communication is used interchangeably with intercultural communication at times. However, cross-cultural communication and intercultural communication are different based on the focus of the research, whereas intercultural communication focus on the interaction with different cultures. Cross-cultural communication focus more on comparisons of different cultures. Different cultures has different views of value, which affect the criteria of politeness and lead to different in various aspects, such as the first one is next slide. Ways to greet each other and farewell. Greeting behavior can be very because of nature, region, venue, age, gender, and medium. Greeting behavior can reflect participant relations and perception of intercultural. Greeting behavior and the culture they are part of. On the other hand, the example, the Western often greet each other with a cheerful hello or something like how are you. If they are talking with a stranger, they tend to talk about the weather as a way of greeting. But Chinese people, they like to ask, "What have you eaten? Where are you going? That brings you here?" Or what brings you here? Or what are you doing here? All this will be considered as interference to privacy Westerners. When parting, Chinese seldom say goodbye as farewell that will be too formal or somewhat distant. Before they leave, Chinese guests like to say, "I have to go now. I'm going," or "Stay where you go. Stay where you are." And the hosts are used to say, "Go slowly. Come again," to see them off. While two friends departing after they meet on the road, one of them may say, I have got to leave," and the others may say, "Let's chat next time. Come to see me when you are free, or I will visit you if I can." As for Westerners, they often say goodbye, see you, and when they part. Okay, that's all from me. Next material will be presented by Dinda.
Okay, thank you to my friends Anisa and Henriani for explaining the material before. And now I am Dinda Muthia Rilyanti will explain to you about the addressing term itself. In here, the definition of addressing term itself is a term of address is a word, praise, name, or a title, or maybe some combination of those things that I've been told you before, used to address someone in writing or while speaking. The terms of addresses are also known as address term or form of addresses. In addressing term itself is one of the important things of communication which is we use in society when we talk to other people. It is the kind of basic rules that of the addressing terms are social age, sex, profession, class, material status, and politeness, which is in Indonesia we use to being addressed with the politeness term itself, and then the other related aspects. Then in here, the speaker uses addressing term to call the person who involved in the conversation itself. Let me give you an example, like Chinese. In Chinese, people often use one of occupation to address to show the respect itself. Like I told you before, because we are in Asia, because we respect like someone being older than you, someone being younger than you, or maybe the different social class, age, sex, profession, like I told you before, either in formal way or informal occasion itself, when they are on their when example like when the people have the higher status itself, people will address that the person that have the higher class or the higher social classes be like being respect
Let me tell you, when we talk in Indonesia, we used to say Bapak, Ibu, or maybe in English we can also say like Mr. or Mrs. And then if their status being like a friend or maybe someone else, maybe we can just use the name itself, or maybe we use the pet name, which is the name that's the name called to them, that special name, or maybe kalau di Indonesia itu kayak panggilan sayang gitu loh, kayak panggilan ketika zaman kecil. Example like me, my name is Dinda Muthia Rilyanti. When people called me like acquaintance or not someone that would not really know me well, they might call me Dinda. And then when my friends call me, because they have some kind of closeness to me, because they know me better than anyone that stranger maybe, they will call me Tia. Hey Tia, or maybe like something more friendly in a kind of way. Or when I in the formal situation itself, people used to call people called me like Miss Dinda, or maybe Mbak, or something more polite when they are addressing people itself. So, and then that's the example, and that's the definition, the explanation about the addressing terms in this material. So back to the moderator. Frizki, time is yours.
Now let's talk about the last part, is the conclusion. The first one is we use the speech function to interact and negotiate with others. There are a number of ways to categorizing the function of speech. The second, being polite may also involve the dimension of formality. Politeness is the best expressed as the practical application of good manners or ethics. The last one is cross-cultural communication is a field of study that looks at how people from different cultural backgrounds communicate. So that's all from our group for today. Thank you guys for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.